Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series Disney Plus's The Mandalorian Show The Child figure review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This runs for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini Mayfield fucking with them. Hype beast, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
Quick look at the side of the box. You can see it says The Child. And on the opposite side, it says The Child again. And it says F1203. And on the back of the box, all of the credits and things and different languages. And this is basically just a shrunken down version of their normal packaging, which I really dig. And I'm actually going to save the box because of the way they have the accessories packed in here with him. It's probably best that you save this box. But let's get them open and see what's what. All right, here we go. The Child, aka Baby Yoda, which is the exact wrong moniker for him, but almost immediately the internet's dubbed him Baby Yoda after we saw him at the end of the very first episode of The Mandalorian, which debuted in November of 2019. I think it was 8 episodes, and I think we saw this character in every episode since that very first episode. I think a lot of us were experiencing Star Wars fatigue after the last trilogy. I thought episode 9 was a dumpster fire. I mean, the whole trilogy to me was just not good. But we still accepted The Mandalorian with open arms. It was a breath of fresh air, and it was instantly a hit. I really enjoyed it. As a fan of the Star Wars universe and a collector, it kind of tickled both of those fancies for us, I think, because it was giving more depth to the overarching story that is the Star Wars universe, but also giving us an opportunity to get more figures, do more displays. And even though we were going to get some new figures of new characters, you can easily integrate them with what we already had. So I was a little late on the first drop of the actual Mandalorian figure, but I did pick him up and I did look at him in a comparison with the SHF Mandalorian a couple weeks ago. I do have the IG-11 on pre-order, and I'm definitely interested in expanding a bit more on this particular storyline with the Star Wars Black Series figures. If you know me, you know I'm very particular with some of the Black Series stuff I pick up. So I'm even a little late on this review, but you know, like I always say, I review stuff as I open it. I literally just opened the figure. I'll make this like a 2-for-1. I'll go through everything with this figure really quick. It's not much to go over. He's a tiny little guy, but I'll also do a little display tutorial and break out the Mandalorian figure and give you a quick little how-to on setting up an ACBA display. And just taking a closer look at this little tiny figure, all decked out in his turtleneck raincoat. I don't know what you would call this thing. Kind of looks like the jacket that the Mezco Judge Dredd was wearing, but it does look pretty accurate to the show. At first I thought that the skin tone was a little off, but I guess it is decent here. I think they did a good job here. The inner portion of his ear, which is like a sort of pinkish color. Probably could have put a little more dry brushing on the jacket here, but everything is there through and through. See some little numbers on the bottom, but you can see his little feet at the bottom. And I might as well actually show you his articulation while I'm here. The arms are on like a little ball joint. They actually could pop out, so you can rotate them and get them up, and you get a decent range for this little guy. The hands are on hinge joints, and they can swivel as well. The head can turn, it can pivot, move up and down a little bit, hindered a little bit by the collar, but even the feet have articulation, so they rotate and they hinge a little bit. It's like a little ball joint under there, so not bad for a really tiny figure. And these are all the accessories he's packed in with. Inside the little clamshell, there's this sort of harder plastic encasement here that has a little frog, and then a little bowl, which he was drinking out of at one point in the episode where they introduced Cara Dune, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a look at everything all together. So not bad. Cool accessories, relevant accessories. Definitely a bit of a challenge to get him to hold some of these things. You know, maybe I'm asking for a bit much, but if they would have put in a different set of hands where he could really grip some of these things, that would have been cool. And one quick size comparison, and then I'm going to show you how to set up a quick, clean, cropped, and contained display. So on the left is the Star Wars Black Series Sand Trooper. Everything is Star Wars Black Series. And then we have IG-88. IG-11 is on pre-order. I think he's supposed to come out in October or November. So I assume it's going to be the same buck. They're just going to change up the deco a little bit. And then we have the Mandalorian. And then we have a Biker Scout. We saw two very vivacious Biker Scouts in 2 of the episodes from the first season. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of people trying to reenact some of those scenes in toy photography. But you can see how very tiny the child is here. But I do think they got the scale right. I'm liking the way everything is looking here. So a little time-lapse video of me just kind of getting my area together, and then I'll walk you through the process with some commentary.
Go run a rap race. I'm king of non-gravitational space. What you saying ain't relatable. Ego's inflatable. I separate mind and self, uncontainable. All your lies get shelved. You practice self-pity. I carry every fucking realm with me. Power and self lift me. Yo, the all charged, all seeing iris. I never knelt for no false god. Leonidas, hold the atlas on my shoulders. What you lack is ultra magnetical sound is past criminal. Never hard to bag bitches. I was rhyming in dollar cash. Vision that no science and scholars had. I put poison in rhyme form, noisy as pipe bombs. Though I'm voicing it quite calm, the Henry Aaron type. I got you checking the Fahrenheit. Devils never settle in paradise. I moved from Queens to Long Island, back to Queens, back to Long Island. In between have been inspiring. I rap the beats from kids from France to Spain to Transylvania. Only now you see the chance.
So if you're new to the channel, pretty much everything I do on the channel is centered around display art, around toy photography, around ACBA. Even when I review figures, I review them from the standpoint of somebody who was going to do some displaying. So, you know, I don't buy anything with intentions to just leave it in a box or put it on a shelf. I buy everything with the intention to display it, to put it in photos, to post it up on my Instagram, to actually play with my toys. Everything I do is practical. Everything I do is tangible. I don't do anything post-shot to edit anything into the photo or remove it digitally. That is pretty much the essence of ACBA. Now, this is a very simple setup here. Piece of poster paper in the back, quite a bit of lights. You just got to remember that every time you set up something, it's like a little miniature production. So you need a ton of lights. Even in dark scenes and movies, they got a lot of lights. So you need lights from every angle. At the very least, you need 3 lights and sort of like a triangular formation. If you don't have a diorama, props and different things could give you some depth and give you some space between the backdrop and where your actual setup is and where your figures are. And my focus right now is on the child. So Mando is just a little bit out of focus. It's cool to add little modular parts between your subject and the backdrop, again, just to give the photo a bit more depth, and then you could play around with it. Everything I do, I set up through the viewer of the camera, so that way everything is already framed up when it's time to start taking shots, and then I'll just mess around with it. I'll shoot a bunch of shots, shoot some variants, change up the color of the backdrop, change up the positioning of the figures, maybe switch out the figures, maybe I'll use the same characters from a different line. But you play with it. You keep messing around with it. It's a lot of trial and error, and you take 50 to 100 shots until you get the one that you think is the best. But anyway, Star Wars Black Series The Child, definitely one I would recommend, especially if you want to build your the Mandalorian universe. It's a cool little figure. It's a fun figure, and it'll make for a lot of nice display options moving forward into 2021. All right. Thanks for hanging out. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
That's crispy.